All right, looks like everybody's ready to go here. We got a full house. That's awesome. Okay, I'm going to officially call this meeting to order, the Traffic Safety Committee, and I'm going to lead off with the Pledge of Allegiance. Please stand. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. Thank you. Okay. All right. And next, we are going to move on to a roll call of the committee. And Cathy?
Committee Member Brennan.
Here.
Committee Member Cotter.
Here.
Committee Member Demeno.
Here.
Youth Member Mansfield.
Here.
Committee Member Newman.
Here.
Committee Member Wyrick. Here. Let the record show that Vice Chair Chair Lobsinger, sorry.
I'm here. I'm here.
Let the record show that Vice Chair Branconi is not in attendance tonight.
All right, next is the agenda, and the first one is that anybody have any proposed changes to the agenda from the committee? And if not, is there an approval? I'm sorry, is there a motion to approve?
I make a motion to approve the agenda.
Second. A second.
Committee Member Brennan.
Aye.
Committee Member Coster.
Rusty. Aye.
Committee Member Demeno.
Aye.
Youth Member Mansfield.
Aye.
Committee Member Newman.
Aye.
Committee Member Wyrick.
Aye.
Thank you. The motion passes unanimously.
And Chair Lobsinger's aye. Sorry.
Chair Lobsinger.
Aye.
That's forgetful.
So next we're going to start with public comment. Let me just read this quick disclaimer. At this time, members of the public may comment on any item not appearing on the agenda. It is recommended that you keep your comments to 3 minutes or less. Under state law, matters presented under this item cannot be discussed or acted upon by the Traffic Safety Committee at this time. For items appearing on the agenda, the public will be invited to make comments at the time the item comes up for committee consideration. Upon being acknowledged by the chair, please step up to the podium and speak into the microphone. Begin by stating and spelling your name. So I'll open up to public comment for anybody who has anything that is not appearing on the agenda. Not seeing any public comment for this. I'm going to move on to the consent calendar. All items listed in the consent calendar are considered to be routine and will be acted upon by a single motion. There will be no separate discussion of these items unless members of the committee, staff, or public request specific items to be removed for separate action. At this time, the committee may decide to change the order of the agenda. And we're going to move on to receive the minutes. Do I have that right? Receive the minutes?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
So we need a motion.
No.
I motion to approve the minutes.
I second.
Committee Member Brennan.
Aye.
Committee Member Coster.
Aye.
Committee Member Demeno.
Aye.
Youth Member Mansfield.
Abstain.
Committee Member Newman.
Aye.
Youth Member Wyrick.
Aye.
Committee Member Wyrick. Oh my gosh, it's a Monday. Chair Lobsinger.
Aye.
All right.
Okay, there you go.
So we have 5-1-1 or 5-1-1 with an abstain. Thank you.
Okay, and with that, we're going to move on to the regular calendar. The discussion on the current status of traffic hazard report received by the Public Works Department, the procedure for reporting the concerns, and the metrics utilized for evaluating them. And I will turn it over to, I'm going to say Director Berger, but it might be Ashley. But either way, I'm turning it over to the Public Works Department.
Thank you, Chair Lobsinger. First, I did want to briefly recognize our new youth committee member, Vinnie Mansfield. We're very excited to work with you, so thank you for being here. And we're just going to dive right into this. So at just a brief recap of what we have done, at the August 20th, 2024 meeting, we received 3 traffic hazard reporting forms, and happy to say that we approved measures to mitigate all 3 of those. So that includes a stop sign at Blue Wing Drive and 2nd Street East, which is in progress of being installed. We had some logistical backlog in terms of getting our thermoplastic for striping. So, but we do have sleeves installed, so the signage is going to go up soon, hopefully this week. We installed red curb at 651 First Street West, those medical buildings, and then we also approved an all-way stop at East MacArthur and Oak Lane in front of Presswood School, and that is also on track to be completed this week once we have our thermoplastic at the yard. So those traffic hazard reporting forms have been moved to archive. So if you could see on our traffic hazard reporting form summary here, they're no longer listed because we have approved actions that are on track to be completed. Public Works is monitoring the status of those, but they are anticipated to be completed, if not this week, then next week. So we're very close. And then between the August 20th traffic hazard report or traffic safety committee meeting and today, we've received 2 new traffic hazard reporting forms. Those are highlighted in blue in the traffic hazard reporting form here, and both are concerning West Main Street. So the first one was submitted by Ashley Cornell, and this requested some mitigation efforts on West Main Street from 5th Street West to 3rd Street West. And one of the most common complaints here, or one of the reasons that they submitted the traffic hazard reporting form is speeding and crosswalk safety. And then we also received another traffic hazard reporting form for the crosswalk at West Main Street and 3rd Street West. This was submitted as a group on behalf of the St. Francis parents, requesting some crosswalk enhancements due to speeding issues and just in general the crosswalk feeling unsafe. So we recently had these are both going to be covered in another subsequent agenda item. Agenda item 4.2, installation of rectangular rapid flashing beacons. So those are going to be discussed more in depth, but these are what have been received. Our traffic engineer has evaluated both of them, and we'll follow that discussion in the next agenda item. So what it focuses on really. I'd also like to point out that the traffic hazard reporting form log that we have, our little matrix, we still have some ones that we haven't closed out, and most, if not all of these, are pending our traffic calming ad hoc committee. So we're the Public Works staff is working hard to get our traffic calming handbook. And after that, we will be able to revisit these with some applicable criteria in terms of what traffic calming measures are going to be suitable to mitigate these issues. So that includes the 5th Street East at East Napa, West Main Street, 1st Street West to 5th Street West, 7th Street West, 5th Street West for West Main to Verano Avenue, and I think MacArthur Lane and 2nd Street East. Yeah, that's parking problem, so that'll be settled with permit parking.
Yeah, so in general, if there's any other items that the commission would like to discuss regarding any of the other traffic hazard reporting forms, as Ashley said, that we've received previously, as Ashley said, some of these are going to be discussed in depth in future agenda items tonight, and others are going to be discussed a little when it comes to a update on the Advanced Traffic Calming Measures Handbook. I think the one that isn't covered in here that we could just talk about are 2nd Street West and Andrick Street, the crosswalk striping, and the deteriorated condition of the asphalt is limiting us from putting in STOP legends and stop bars, but we are looking at doing a treatment to the asphalt that'll allow us to go out and redo the legends out there, so that is still pending also, and it's just pending time and availability of the crew. So if there's any other questions on any of these from the commission, we can go ahead and address those now.
Well, just for efficiency's sake, did last time to go through item by item. I just want to make sure that we discuss each item as they come and make sure the public can comment as they come. So I just want to kind of figure out how we're going to move forward right now, because I know some of these are going to be talked about when we talk about Spain Street. I just want to make sure we hit everything and give everybody an opportunity to speak, be heard. So I'm kind of going to look at Ashley for some direction on this.
These were all pretty extensively reviewed at the June 27th committee. And so we just kind of have, most of these are on pause, waiting for the traffic calming ad hoc. The traffic calming ad hoc is essentially Public Works' answer to figuring out how we're going to proceed with traffic calming measures and whether, what measures would be appropriate and where. But that involves the work that the ad hoc is doing. So we can, in terms of discussing each one, I mean, ultimately that's up to you, but we did provide a kind of a comprehensive overview, and we are going to be discussing the traffic calming ad hoc later as well.
Yeah, no, I know, and I know we went through a lot of it last time. So maybe the easiest thing to do would go down the list real quick and just see if anybody wants to talk about one of these or if there's any public comment regarding any of these issues. I just want to make sure everybody gets a chance to be heard. Or if somebody else has any other idea, I'm definitely open to hearing it. So then maybe we'll do that and just check me if I dip into something that you're already planning on talking about. So the first one we're looking at is 5th East and East Napa, a speeding line of sight commercial vehicles. This is your. We got yours taken care of. Check off that. Okay. West Spain, 1st to 5th. That's going to be discussed later on. 7th Street West, there is, we're reviewing about speeding commercial vehicles. Anybody have anything regarding 7th West? 5th West, from West Spain to Verano, speeding. I know that Public Works is working on that. Anybody from the committee have anything on this? Or any public comment regarding 5th West from Spain to Verano? All right, we just went over the 2nd Street West and Andrew Street. Next one, MacArthur Lane and 2nd Street. This is the parking issue. This has been an ongoing problem, that we've been dealing with the chief, police, and I know we have an ad hoc committee, so maybe we can hold off on that one for the ad hoc report back. Okay, and then these next two, this is what we're going to talk about in the next. Okay, I just want to make sure we got everything. Okay, we're good. So, we can, so let's see, there's no public comment, no questions from the committee. I think we can close out this one for right now and move forward to the next one, which would be the RRFBs. We're going to the 3rd Street West and West Spain Street. So, I'm going to turn it back over to you, Ashley.
Thank you, Chair Lobsinger. The city has received multiple traffic hazard reporting forms regarding the crosswalk at 3rd Street West and West Spain Street. Sonoma Police Department had stationed officers at the crosswalk to observe activity before and after school hours, as St. Francis is located just down 3rd Street West to observe. They did get a lot of feedback from residents who regularly walked to General Vallejo's home. That path and cited crossing was dangerous due to speeding vehicles and line of sight issues for pedestrians using the crosswalk. This came up at an October 24th traffic engineering and safety team meeting. That included Sonoma Police Department, Sonoma Fire Department, Public Works Street Department, and our contracted city traffic engineer with GHD. We reviewed a plan to add rectangular rapid flashing beacons to that intersection with push buttons installed at the crosswalks of West Spain and 3rd Street West, and that addition was approved by those parties. So the city traffic engineer approved it, Sonoma PD, Sonoma Fire. We also have a provided technical memo from our city traffic engineer regarding the RRFB installation of the crosswalk, and this includes a California MUTCD standard for installation, which the city plans to utilize as a model. Public Works staff is working on ordering the materials, and we are working with our city traffic engineer to adopt a standard for installation. So with that, I think I'm going to turn that over to our city traffic engineer to go over the technical memo.
Thank you, Ashley. So what I've prepared here is running through the situation with regard to the traffic hazard report. As the test committee and as part of the installation, viewed this as kind of a first and fast solution to the traffic hazard report. As was unanimously discussed at the traffic engineering safety team, we reviewed the traffic request and the installation of the RRFB. So the installation of the RRFB is covered under an interim approval process through the MUTCD and the California Department of Transportation. The installation at this location, because it is a four-way stop, it is Monday. We'll just go with that. It is a four-legged crosswalk. The RRFBs may only be installed on those uncontrolled legs of the intersection, so West Spain Street. So that's what we have here, and thank you for bringing up the graphic. The installation of the device would typically, and this is why I'm bringing this up specifically, because it looks different than some of the other installs we have in town. By design, the RFBs are to be installed on each side of the roadway in each direction of approach to the crosswalk. In most cases, that means that it's one crosswalk that we're only enhancing with the RFBs, like on Broadway. And those signs are double-sided. In this case, we're actually going to control both crossings of West Spain Street, and those will not be independent. Those will occur at the same time. So there's push buttons on all four corners that will activate the system overall as one. So those signs are on each approach, which would entail keeping the intersection clear when somebody is in the crosswalk on either side. The installation not shown on this graphic would also have what we've traditionally installed in the city is the advanced warning bar or yield line, which is, we call that shark's teeth in engineering lingo or traffic engineering, and it's the diamonds that are isosceles triangles across the intersection located, in this case, they'd be located 20 feet back, which is the distance of the red curb as per new state law requiring advance red curb in advance of a crosswalk. So both of those things are aligned to help clear up the sight lines. Those vehicles would yield at that point when the lights are activated. The advanced yield line and the activation of the control device or the warning flasher is actually all kind of integrated into the fact that pedestrians, right now, as a pedestrian is waiting to cross the road, they're usually waiting for a car to yield to them. Now the car should yield to them as they're on the curb waiting to cross. But what this does is the activation of the device and the beacons, those vehicles will actually now yield 20 feet in advance of the crosswalk, making it very clear that they will be yielding to the pedestrian. Pedestrians, again, through education, but the pedestrian should not go ahead and start crossing until that vehicle has yielded to them. That's a California Vehicle Code item as well. So the 20 feet distance, very typical, that's what we've got. It actually aligns with the red curb. The devices on each side of the intersection will only flash in the direction of West Spain Street, the east and westbound approaches. And the device itself, so the installation here is a wireless and solar installation. So this does not preclude any future changes, installations, decisions to be made at a future time with regard to the traffic calming matrix And so this is sort of a first opportunity to create an environment conducive to the pedestrian crossings as per the request. Kind of won't get into too many legal or engineering-ese on this. I'll try and keep it high level, but if you've got questions, I'm here to answer.
All right, sounds good, thank you. I know I have a couple questions, but I'm gonna open it to the committee. Anybody have questions on this? Just two for me for clarification. The memo said, maybe I missed something, it said Spain Street on Third, it said and Fourth Street too. Or maybe I saw that wrong.
So the traffic hazard report mentioned a request for these devices to be installed or enhancement to be installed at both 4th Street and 3rd Street. Part of the test committee discussion was the oversaturation of a device like this. If you put it everywhere, it starts to lose its emphasis. This location at 3rd Street is actually really prime because the driveway, Vallejo's home, is actually a really great location to come on and off of the bike path. There's sidewalks coming to this location. It is 2 crossings of West Spain Street. So it really is the best location because it's also equidistant between the 1st Street West and the 5th Street West intersection. So in order to maximize the emphasis at this location, as well as, you know, keeping the speeds and everything, this being at that equidistance really is a way of maximizing the performance.
Yeah, no, it's a great location. I was just clarifying, was there supposed to be one at 4th Street? Okay.
No,
Gotcha.
what we recognize
Just
is
third,
that
got
4th
it.
Street does not make as much sense as if we had to make the decision between the two. This is where the direction.
Perfect. And then just the other one, would this be something to be done immediately, or I know that Spain's gonna go through a whole other resurfacing and everything. Would this be done right now, or will we wait until the resurfacing?
No, this can be done now.
Okay. All right.
And it's just gonna, the material's been ordered. It takes a 6 to 8 week lead time, and then
Okay.
it's just scheduling the crews to go put it in. And I mean, they're not easy installations. It involves drilling a hole, not as big as what we had to do on Caltrans right away, but we still have to go out there, clear utilities, et cetera. Yeah.
Okay, that's good. All right, that's all I had.
I'm just curious, has this been considered for 5th as well?
So at 5th
Fifth
and
Street
West
West.
Spain, so the installation of a warning device cannot be installed at a control device. So that's why it's only on West Spain, because the stop signs on West 3rd are actually stop controlled, and the 5th Street is actually always stop. So it would not be installed at that location by design.
I had a question, just maybe it relates to, maybe a question to Mike. The speed on West Spain, the talk about lowering it to 20 miles an hour. Where are we with that? Is that tied in with any of this?
That is not tied in with any of this. That is a separate item on a separate track, and it's making its way through the system right now.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, if there's nothing else from the committee, we can open it up to public comment.
Hi, I'm Eric Ham, E-R-I-C-H-A-M, and this is my daughter Elliot Ham. You want to spell your name?
I'm good.
I just want to say, first of all, thank you for reacting quickly to this and putting the flashing light, stoplight in. But we live right up off West 4th in Spain, and I'm just hoping that perhaps the committee can consider something for West 4th in Spain, because as it is right now, there's quite a few families that come down West 4th from all the streets that are above where we live on Casabon Lane, come down and want to cross at West 4th and to either go to Sonoma Market or go to school or go to wherever. And sometimes people, you know, they might slow down there, but then if they're in a hurry going to work or whatever it is in the morning, you know, they'll speed right back up. And I don't know if it could be something, maybe a pylon in the road in the middle of just something simple like that, but something to direct more attention to the intersection at West 4th and Spain would be very helpful. But, I mean, I think the flashing crosswalk thing is awesome, and we're really excited about that. But, you know, she's getting to a point here where she wants to go ride her bike around town, and there's been times when somebody has stopped, and somebody who's in a hurry has actually pulled around a stopped car with kids in the crosswalk. It's crazy. I've never seen people drive like such maniacs as along that street there. And you compound that with low visibility where the crosswalk is located at West 4th and Spain on the north side of the street. Combine that, and then with the sun kind of sometimes shining in people's eyes at a certain time of the day, anything we can do to help also draw attention to that crosswalk at West 4th and Spain would be very helpful. So, thank you. Is there anything you want to say?
Sure. Me and my brother and one of my friends, I was coming home from school, and a car almost ran us over, and a lady beeped really loudly, and it saved us, but it was really scary.
Okay, thanks, honey. All right, thank you.
All right, thank you.
Good evening. Armando Zimmerman, 275 West Spain Street. I had a couple of comments here or observations. First of all, I was going to comment on the red curves, but I noticed that on page, agenda item 4.2, page 1, it talks about red curb, no parking zones along West Spain Street to 20 feet on approach of the marked crosswalk. This recently has been completed in the area, increasing the side of distance and whatever. But basically, I live right across the street, and I don't think that work's been done. There was one new red curb. It's 14 feet long, and that was on the north side of the Vallejo entrance. The others are 10 feet and 12 feet, I believe. So consequently, you know, not to be picky, but I think that work hasn't been done. I wanted to also start to say by saying that I wanted to support the effort overall. I hope it makes it safer for everyone, the kids and all. And the last comments all of my comments pertain to all the users of West Spain Street and intersecting streets. I have observed that drivers making drop-offs and pickups at St. Francis School at times have difficulty entering Spain Street from 3rd Street, especially if they are turning left. So I'm not sure how effective this will be for that situation. I think it's dangerous whether it's a school pickup time or not, because it's hard to get onto Spain Street, especially if you're turning left. So that's a comment. And then my last comment is perhaps a well-designed small traffic circle combined with an RFB or two at West Spain Street and 3rd Street West could mitigate safety and traffic calming issues in our neighborhood, because I live right around the corner myself, so that's self-serving for me. So thank you.
All right, thank you.
Carol Campbell, Campbell. I live right at the corner you're talking about, 307 West Spain Street, and I am excited to see something being done at this corner. It has been needed for a long time. I commend you for taking the steps to resolve this safety issue. My only question, and I think you answered it, was it would be solar operated, because my only question had been, would you have to disrupt any of the root system of the redwood trees on that corner? So thank you. Thank you for getting on this right away and taking care of this. We have so many older people walking dogs, park at our intersection to walk to Vallejo's home and do the bike trail. So when it's not busy, I'm glad we're resolving this with a flashing light for when it is busy, because when it isn't traffic heavy, they do wait and cross safely. But this will be great for them to have a way to make sure that they can get across, because they walk slower, And it's okay. So do I. Thank you. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you.
My name is Roman, Roman. I just wanted to say, me and my friend Cameron, after school, we usually go on bike rides. We use that intersection as a main course to go to his house or go to the square. And I think it's really important that we do a stop sign so people stop, because it goes so fast. So we call it like the 5-second light. I just want to appreciate that you guys are making the work to do that. Thank you.
Roman, can I get your last name, please?
Conceição.
Can you spell it for me, please?
Conceicio.
Thank you.
Hi there, my name's Amanda Conceição, Conceicio. I just wanted to add to what the gentleman had said about making a left onto Spain Street from 3rd. It is really difficult to see, so I'm not sure if there is a way, maybe like painting the curb red a certain distance so that you're able to get that clearance. You almost have to put your neck out there to look and see if cars coming, and either gun it and hope that you have enough time, or back up a little bit. But it is in heavy traffic time, so dropping off and picking up, it is really difficult to see. So I know it's a smaller element to the crossing across the street, but I think it is an important thing to consider as well. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Danielle Davila, Davila, and my daughter Esme is here too. I just wanted to thank the city for responding so positively and quickly to our request. And I know that some of this was in the works already, but I wanted to let you know that the kids at St. Francis really did a lot of the work in getting all the names for the petition. So this is pretty cool for them to see that some positive action can be had when their voices are heard from the town that they live in. One thing I wanted to add is that I'm so happy to see that we'll have the flashing lights installed and the curbs and the shark's teeth. One thing I did notice, though, at Presswood School, they do have the center pylons that sort of identify the crosswalks, and it feels more like it's identifying like a school crossing. So that might be the one thing that's missing. It's a primary school crossing. If we had something in the middle, it might deter people from, driving around that vehicle, which we've seen multiple times when the kids are riding bikes to school. So if it is at all possible to add that overlay, it'd be appreciated. So thanks.
Thank you. Any further public comment on 3rd Street and West Spain? I will send it back to, we got one.
My name's Abby Ham, Ham, and I think all of my friends and children of my friends have all addressed what we're talking about at 4th Street West and West Spain, 3rd Street West and West Spain. My husband mentioned 4th Street West and West Spain. I will say that crosswalk, when you're crossing from the south side of West Spain, going north toward the bike path, there's no sidewalk that you're crossing to. You're crossing into a bush. I don't know if anyone's ever noticed that, but there's no sidewalk there. Now, that property, as I understand it, is state property, so I don't know if that is something to be addressed with this committee not necessarily in this meeting, but I would like to address at some point, and maybe getting a sidewalk from 3rd Street West, a sidewalk on West Spain Street, on the north side of West Spain Street, from 3rd Street West to 4th Street West. There's no sidewalk there. So if you want to cross the road safely, you have to cross the south side of West Spain Street and then go down and cross back over. Am I making sense? Yeah. Okay. I'm getting all my wests and thirds and fourths mixed up. At any rate, can any of you answer, is that state property? And if I wanted talk about a sidewalk being installed there, would that be with this committee? Would that be with the state?
I don't have that information off the top of my head. I think we'd have to do a little research, unless Mike, you happen to know.
Not off the top of my head.
Okay.
It could be city right away,
Yeah,
but I can't confirm.
Okay.
yeah.
I
We,
can-
we would have to look into it.
I can find out. We do live, as my husband said, up 4th Street, one block. And when we are pulling out of our neighborhood, we can't even see around the bush to turn, to look east down West Main. But all that said, thank you very much for everything you're doing for 3rd Street West. That, to me, is a top priority for the residents of the city, as well as the children at St. Francis. And other schools, that students that commute that way down to their own schools. Thank you.
Thank you. And gonna look and see if there's any more, just one more ask for public comment. If not, we can move forward. I just send it back to the committee. I will say thank you to Public Works and thank you for the kids at St. Francis for putting it together. It's a lot of work. You're thanking us, but they're the ones doing a lot of the heavy lifting, and especially if the kids are putting together a petition, they're doing a lot of the heavy lifting as well. So anybody who's been to this meeting before knows that I walk across to go to Vallejo's home with my family almost every weekend. So I would be, unless the committee has anything that they want to talk about, I would make a motion to install the RRFBs at 3rd and West Spain, 3rd West and West Spain.
I would just like to ask Director Berger, I like Mr. Ham's suggestion, and I've seen on East Napa Street where people in great hurries, there's a car stopped to make a left turn across traffic, and somebody who's going down the street on Napa Street, they'll swerve around, and you know, they shouldn't be taking that little jag around the car, but they do because they're in a hurry. Is there any possibility, I'm sure it's more budget item, but can you add a bulb out to those intersections to help calm that traffic more and to hopefully help prevent the scofflaws from making that dodge around traffic already?
Yeah, bulb outs can be added. They're just additional measures that are more expensive. Yeah, and what I'm expecting and hoping is that with the next agenda item that we're going to be talking about, one or two down the list, that could be one of the different options. We don't always have to make them out of concrete, like at 5th Street East and East Napa. So we might be able to come up with some painted configurations, like are being installed in cities around California right now, as an alternative to expensive concrete bulb out.
So just for context here, my son is in kindergarten at St. Francis, and so I'm living and breathing everything that these parents and staff and community are feeling. And so I am absolutely in support of what the city proposes here for 3rd Street West. But I don't know if we want to talk about the left turn lane and some of the other things, if we want to table that for the second portion, or if we want to motion to move this forward and then have separate discussions.
A left turn lane,
Going left from 3rd onto Spain, and then also coming from Spain into 3rd.
So like a stacking lane.
Yeah, it's bad both ways. So, I mean, there's multi-layers here because there's, the traffic at drop-off and pickup is very, it's very challenging. Yeah. So this I absolutely support, but I'm wondering if we can have some separate discussions around some ideas for some of the other items that were brought up, or if.
I mean, my initial thought is the RFBs we can do right now, or not right now, but they're pretty much ready to go. And when the resurfacing and rework of Spain Street gets done, that would be not a better time. I'm not saying don't discuss it, but I think that's nothing would happen until then, since we're resurfacing, repainting, and all that good stuff. And with the ad hoc committee on the traffic calming measures, we can kind of see what's hitting certain criteria and what, we have a little bit more of an idea of what we could potentially do where and when and that sort of thing. So my initial thought is let's just do the RFBs right now while we can, and then when we get closer to repaving and redoing all of Spain Street, that we really kind of flesh out some ideas. That's my thought. I'm not happy to discuss though.
Okay. Thank you guys so much for acting quickly on this.
Yeah, sure. And in terms of the left turn issue that was mentioned previously for northbound traffic on 3rd Street onto westbound Spain, I didn't pick up on that as part of the traffic hazard reporting forms that were submitted. So I'm not sure if that was mentioned. And so really tabling that to an ad hoc discussion or the next meeting, and staff could work on that in the interim also, and just do an investigation and see if there's, that hasn't been discussed with police department. It hasn't been discussed at the traffic safety team meeting that we had or with the traffic engineer. So I'm not too sure that we can make a whole lot of progress on that tonight.
Sounds good, thank you.
Okay, anything else from the committee on this one? All right, then again, I will motion to have RFBs placed at 3rd Street West and West Spain Street, according to what the traffic engineers presented and Public Works presented.
I second.
Committee Member Brennan,
Aye.
Committee Member Coster,
Aye.
Committee Member Demeno,
Aye.
Youth Member Mansfield,
Aye.
Committee Member Newman,
Aye.
Committee Member Wyrick,
Aye.
Chair Lobsinger.
Aye.
Thank you. The motion passes unanimously.
All right. Okay, all right, now we got that. Excellent. Now we're gonna move on to the next item on the agenda, 4.3, permit parking ad hoc report out. I'm gonna turn it back over to Ashley and Public Works.
Thank you, Chair Lobsinger. Our permit parking ad hoc committee met on October 3rd, 2024. Attendees included ad hoc committee member Mark Branconi and the following City of Sonoma staff: Director of Public Works Mike Berger, myself, Matt Wargula, our contract traffic engineer, and Brandon Cutting, Chief of Police. At this meeting, we reviewed a draft permit parking program with suggested edits that were provided through previous ad hoc meetings, and these edits were presented at the August 20th, 2024 Traffic Safety Committee meeting. To review this program, will be administered through the Sonoma Police Department. And so many of the edits presented were decided on with the police department, Chief Cutting acting as an acting representative in order to make this program manageable with their current staff availability and bandwidth. Public Works will assist the police department by gathering all of the data and working as a point of contact during the process of requesting a permit parking zone as detailed in our permit parking program. However, the Sonoma Police Department will have final approval as they will ultimately be managing and implementing this program. So the most notable items of this permit parking program to call out is that these permit parking permits will be approved for a period of 10 years, and the permit parking zones will also sunset after 10 years, so they will align with the approved permit parking zone. There is one free visitor permit per household resident. The Public Works Director will make final recommendations to the Sonoma Police Department for final approval. This will be done after our review process, which is detailed in the permit parking program. So this will include a survey of a 2,000-foot radius, and then also have some requirements in terms of the response to those surveys in order for those to pass, unless there are variance which, will be discussed between Public Works and Sonoma Police Department. And then also, permits are non-transferable. So if cars are sold and new cars purchased, a new permit will need to be purchased, and that rate is at $25 per permit. So the recommended council action today is to review the current draft of the permit parking program. If the committee finds that the draft is acceptable without any major revisions, we can approve and adopt it tonight. Alternatively, if you have additional feedback and would prefer to have an additional permit parking ad hoc committee meeting, we can certainly arrange for that, and then this will be adopted at the Q1 2025 permit park or traffic safety committee meeting. Sorry about that. And then attached is our draft, which is part of our agenda packet. So at this point, if you guys have any feedback on that.
I just want to say thank you so much for putting this together. I read through it all and it looks fantastic. So I appreciate all of your hard work. I know this took a lot of time. So thank you.
I have a question.
Yeah.
You mentioned it's $25 per permit. My question is, where does that money go?
The money is payable to Sonoma PD, I believe. And that is, it just helps run the program. So essentially, in typical permit parking programs, you would have like a smaller year term, like 2 years. It's common to see 2-year terms in order to kind of break even. But you kind of attach a monetary fee to these in order to kind of do as much as you can to break even on these. But I'm sure Chief Cutting can expand on that a little bit more.
Yeah, I was gonna say, before we turn it over to the committee, I was gonna see if the chief wanted to come up and just talk about this a little bit more before we start asking questions.
So as far as the fees go, we have an existing permit program. It's just not well understood. Adding new zones to it is not described in the process whatsoever. So that's why this plan is really nice to have. Gives us the ability to identify new locations and add new locations. The current fee is $20 a permit, and they don't have an expiration because the current program doesn't have the limitations of a 10-year sunset clause. So having a fee associated with it is what we've always had. We do have to purchase the permits, both the visitor and the resident permits, and if you have to replace them, we bear that expense, so that fee is just going to cover that.
Thank you. I didn't mean for you to. I just didn't know where it went. This is new to me, and I'm just trying to educate myself on the fee where the money goes back to. Thank you.
And as far as the program goes, I think it's fantastic, and you guys have done a really good job putting together, and the committee has done a really good job, ad hoc, of coming together with a comprehensive plan that we can actually manage through different zones. I know we have one zone clearly represented here tonight, but I'm sure there's others that would like to have it, and this gives us great guidelines to be able to just move forward with these as opposed to delaying it, as this group has been for several, I think, years. Thank you.
All right, sounds good. I'll turn it over to the committee for any questions, any further questions or discussion.
I also want to say I read through this whole thing. It was really, really well done. Excellent. Thank you.
All right, if there's nothing further from the committee, I will turn it over to public comment on permit parking.
Good evening. My name is Judith Alex, A-L-E-X, and I first want to thank the ad hoc committee for their incredible work. I agree with you, Chief Cutting. This is great. It is a really great start. I'd also like to thank my neighbors who continue to come out here to these meetings and support our efforts to get this zone completed. I have a couple questions for you. In the draft, you use the word household and resident interchangeably. 4 to 5 of the homes are rented. So my question to you is, would it be a homeowner who needs to sign the survey, or is it a resident?
It would be a resident, whoever is living there. So if they're renting it, then they would be able to sign your permit. So we're not distinguishing between homeowners and renters.
Why is that?
Because the renter is well, honestly, that consideration, I don't think we fully, I mean, personally, I don't think that came up in terms of delineating it. But and permit, I've done a lot of research into other permit parking programs. So trying to figure out like what kind of criteria to use, what others look like. And I've never seen a delineator for renters or homeowners. And I think a big part of that is because the renter, the person who lives there, is the person who's going to be impacted by the permit parking, not necessarily the homeowner, if that makes sense. Because the homeowner doesn't live there, right? The renter lives there.
Right, but if it's going to be for 10 years, the renter who signs the survey
And
may
I
be
think
gone in a year.
That's probably something that the renter should talk to the homeowner about before, but that would be something that they should work out between the tenant and the landlord. We don't necessarily want to get too in the weeds on that.
Okay. Well, I'd like the committee to discuss that if possible, about if these homeowners who have these homes and may have renters for just a year really should be the ones signing the survey, since they have the property right.
So currently, as it is, the survey is going to go to whoever we have on the mailing address, right? So the survey is going to be mailed out per the permit. Is going to be mailed out to whoever's living there.
Is it going to say like resident and then the address?
Yeah, I don't think it would be. Well, I mean that's something we'd probably flesh out later, but I think it wouldn't call out the person who's living there. I don't necessarily think it would be addressed to a resident, not dissimilar to the kind of noticing that we gave for our W10, our AMI project. That wasn't necessarily addressed to the person in particular. Just said, hey, we want to let you know this is going on. So it didn't call out names in particular, but I think in a situation like that, we would expect there to be some communication going on between the renter and the homeowner.
We hope.
Yeah, but I haven't seen a permit parking program that clearly delineates or gives direction to a renter. Most of the time, a renter is probably not going to read that, right? They're, as you say, might be a more temporary tenant. So.
Will we be notified when the survey is mailed?
Yeah. If you're in the zone, you would get a mailer.
Okay.
Yeah. So if you know the homeowner, you're more than welcome to discuss with them, notify them, what have you. It just, in terms of figuring out who owns the property and who currently resides in the property, that kind of overhead is extensive, right? Because we don't necessarily keep records in terms of like who owns that. That's a different kind of clearing process. That, just so you know, that goes into like, we're going to go into GIS and individually look up every single parcel to see who the owner is. And sometimes in situations, the owner might not even live here. The owner might be, in Canada or in, down in LA. So being able to pull a mailing list off of like who receives our water bills is a lot more doable than trying to piecemeal out who owns a home versus who rents, because this needs to be applicable for the entire city and also manageable.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I got to jump in because this is the public comment portion. It's just, we can't keep going back and forth point by point.
Okay.
So, no, it's fine. But we happy to discuss, but we can't keep going down. This is public comment. We got to do 3 minutes for everybody.
I just have a couple more things I'd like to say. In the draft, it says posted restrictions, and I don't know what that means. If it's 2 hours, 3 hours, 24/7, I think that should be specified if possible. Also, the parking zone determination period, Tuesday through Thursday from 8 to 6 on a typical problematic day. I would stress that should be done during the school year, during school hours. Thank you.
Thank you.
Craig Ricefield, REISFIELD. On being, on the delineation between the resident and the property owner, why would it be any more difficult to get it off the assessor's list of who the registered owner of the property is and sending the notification to them versus just sending to the address to a resident who will probably just throw it out?
Yeah, that comment's noted, and the chair will address that.
Okay.
Yeah, so we've definitely, I know this is something that we do need to flesh out. This is kind of what we have so far, the resident versus household, but I believe we can, I don't know if we're tonight or how we're going to move forward with this, but this is something we can still discuss, correct?
It's something we can definitely discuss at an additional ad hoc committee meeting. I mean, that is a pretty significant revision.
Yeah.
So something that should be discussed and also discussed with public works staff as well in terms of, the process for that. Because that's a little bit more in-depth than pulling a mailing list.
Yeah.
So, and it's, I think, something that should be addressed probably in a different, where we have the ability to maybe discuss a little bit more in depth than so that would be like an ad hoc setting.
Yeah, and I know obviously a ton of work has been done on this, and this has been an issue that's been going on for a while. I don't want to, I don't want it to keep going. I don't want to spend more time on it than we have to. I would like to get it moving forward. But would it be fair to say that the language in here and the wording in here is kind of based on best practices, current law, and everything like that?
This was adapted from the city of San Mateo's, and I also looked at several other permit parking programs. I think I presented about 5 or 6 different options at our ad hoc report out, and it is a pretty typical language across the board.
Yeah, Chief.
I think one important part about this isn't the first phase of this. It's not like we're sending mailers out to neighborhoods who are not involved in this process. We're sending it out to a neighborhood that's already brought this to our attention. So I think one of your concerns is, I know you own a home that you have a renter in, and if they didn't respond to it, but I think you're also, that community, you are a part of that, you own the home on that street and you're a part of that community. So your neighbors would probably come to you with the same complaint of, we're having this parking issue. You would sign that initial petition that would go to us to have us look at that zone, and then the survey comes out after that. So I think the resident, whomever is living there at the time, would be probably, you'd be more in the know than, it's not like this is a blanket letter that we're sending out and you wouldn't have any information that's already coming. I think that's an important differentiation, and it's not like it's initiated through our process. This is something that you guys have brought to us. We're responding, and we're just doing the survey to make sure that it's welcome. I don't know if that's helpful, but.
Yeah, thanks, Chief. More public comment?
I just want to add on, we also spent a lot of time on the percentages of responses. So if you looked in the draft, we need 65% of people to respond to those notices. So, granted there are, you can't control how many people are renting and when and keeping tabs on all of that, but we tried to be favorable to the neighborhood and it's within that 2,000 feet or the square footage, and try to be favorable in the percentages so that there's room for error, I guess you could say, if people didn't respond or if there was a tenant that didn't respond.
Hi, I'm Jane Wicklund. It's Wicklund. And first of all, I just want to thank you that this is finally moving forward. As Chief Cutting has alluded to, we've been working on this for years. And so I'm just very excited that I think we're almost there. And I really want to do whatever we can to move it forward and to get some resolution on our street. And so I really appreciate that. And so that's one comment. And the other comment is, with the discussion that's going on, I'm wondering if you looked at San Mateo and other places, maybe looking at cities that have more rentals, because we're more of a tourist community, I would say, than we have a lot more rentals in Sonoma than perhaps San Mateo. I don't really know that for sure, but it's just an assumption I'm making. And maybe consider looking at, tax assessor's office or something, but not to do that now, to just move forward with a permit program now. And then as the permit program evolves for the city, I think there would be more evolutions in it and making it more clear as it goes on. But I just really would like to move forward with this as quickly as we can now. So thank you.
Thank you. All right, any other comments from the public? And with that, I will send it back to the committee for any questions, comments. I don't have any.
So I'm afraid to open a can of worms here. I don't quite understand what the concern is, whether it's a renter or an owner. If there, I happen to have a couple of rental properties at various locations. Sometimes we get notified from the city because we're the property owners. Other times the tenant gets notified. And to your point, Chief, it's mail's going to go out. It's going to go to those houses. Presumably, if it's like my neighborhood, people are going to talk. So I'm not saying it's misguided. I don't quite understand the concern, and I'm afraid to open up discussion because I also believe everybody's done a heck of a job on this, and we should move forward. Anyway, just throw that out.
Any other comments or suggestions from the committee? Are there any motions for this? It sounds like there's a want to move forward with this. We do have these ideas in mind, but Shelby, did you have something?
No, I'm good to motion this forward. I know that there's some potential minor changes to this, but do you feel like another meeting is necessary, or
I think that,
or can we
can, this can be amended down the road.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I
and
was
so
thinking.
adopting it tonight, I mean, I wouldn't say it's a living document. Some of these documents are living documents. I don't want to go that far.
Okay.
We don't want to amend this every quarter, but we do want to take a look at it, take a look at some of the concerns that were brought up tonight, and over the next year, we can make a correction if necessary.
Okay, I motion to move this forward.
Second.
Oh. Yeah.
All in favor?
So which one of you? Mark?
Sure.
Okay. Committee Member Brennan.
Aye.
Committee Member
Aye.
Coster. Committee Member Demeno.
Aye.
Youth Member Mansfield.
Aye.
Committee Member Newman.
Aye.
Committee Member Wyrick.
Aye.
And Chair Lobsinger.
Aye.
And the motion passes unanimously. Thank you.
All right. Okay, now we are moving along, and with that, we'll move on to the next item, 4.4, the traffic calming measure ad hoc report out, and I will turn it back over to Public Works.
Thank you. So our traffic calming ad hoc met on Friday, October 4th, 2024. This included ad hoc committee members Adam Lobsinger, Mark Demeno, and Jay Newman. City staff in attendance included Director of Public Works, myself, and Matt Wargula, our contract traffic engineer through GHD. As just kind of a refresher, at our previous ad hoc meeting, the committee members are in favor of approving a program to reflect kind of a similar structure to what we have displayed, which is kind of the definition of traffic calming, criteria to be eligible for a traffic calming measure, definitions and commonly used acronyms, and then a process and a flow chart. And this would reflect something similar to a traffic hazard report form comes in, and it's evaluated against the traffic calming handbook. And at first we will evaluate it to see if we can implement level 1 traffic calming measures, which include like striping, additional signage. And if level 1 measures don't work, moving forward to level 2 and level 3, which would require additional engineering. And this process could also include a consultation with a traffic engineer, police, and fire. And then at the end of all that, we would bring it back to traffic safety and make a recommendation to implement a measure. So at this ad hoc meeting, we presented a draft traffic calming handbook from the city of Millbrae, which closely represents the structure above. And we also presented a traffic calming matrix from the city of Sonoma traffic calming plan from 2003, because apparently we already had one, so that was news. A traffic calming matrix addresses types of traffic calming measures and when and where they can be utilized. And attached to this, we have the traffic calming matrix that our traffic engineer Frank here with GHD has reviewed and made some edits to. And this is kind of what we're talking about. The traffic calming book will more closely align with this in terms of lining out exactly what these types of measures are used for, what kind of streets they can be used for, if they can be used on an emergency route, other considerations, mid-block crossings, and then like what types of problems that they would be appropriate to fix. I don't believe we have rectangular rapid flashing beacons in the matrix right now, although Frank may correct me in a few minutes. And we do intend on scheduling an additional ad hoc meeting to review a more comprehensive draft of our adapted traffic calming handbook. So we're going to work on scheduling that after this. But our matrix here is the progress that we've made. And this is kind of outlining the different traffic calming measures that we would like to include in the traffic calming handbook. And I think that's just a few pages. Sorry. No. There we go.
This one?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then I'm going to turn it over to Frank, who will be able to answer more of your questions regarding these measures.
Is that good? If you want me to zoom in on a certain section, let me know.
So this kind of outlines the different tiers that we have proposed. So tier 1 is going to be speed legends, striping, bots dots, stuff that our public works staff can implement relatively easily. And then tier 2 are going to be things that would require additional traffic engineering. And tier 3 are going to be things that are more expensive and probably going to additional traffic engineering are probably going to be looped into something similar like a capital improvement project.
Yeah, and just looking at the overall presentation of this, something that we are happy with in terms of, like Ashley was saying, tier 1, fairly easy to do, not relatively inexpensive, and it can involve some of the measures that you want to do prior, like currently what we're doing up at Montini and 5th. And stop sign isn't necessarily here. That stop sign takes a different route. And then as you get into tier 2, a little bit more expensive, a little bit more additional engineering required. Probably not necessarily a CIP project, but some physical measures that you can do to upgrade the safety of the intersection, the roadway. And then as you get into tier 3, this is definitely something that's more expensive, is going to require additional engineering, and also the check boxes of, would you want to install this on a collector arterial? Would you want to install this on a primary fire, emergency response route? They get a little bit more complex as you go. The information that we went over with the ad hoc, it clearly specified that each one of these measures is going to have its own section with its own description, pictures, statistics, a little bit of a brief paragraph or two describing the measure. And the presentation is what really attracted me, in that I think that for the resident who's looking at this handbook that'll be online, they're gonna, this is a 50,000 foot view right here. This has all the different measures summarized, the type of the problem, whether it can go in a residential or non-residential area, intersection, mid-block, etc. And then also, as you direct your way up and down this, you could go back into the rest of the manual and get more description about these individual measures as they're going to be laid out by Tier 1 first, Tier 2 second, and Tier 3 third. So I like the presentation of it. We did, as Ashley said, we found a traffic calming measures handbook from 2003 that was very outdated. We decided we're going to shy away from that and focus more on this particular model that has a really good presentation and a good description of each individual item. So, a little bit of background there.
Yeah, this looks really good. As a member of the ad hoc, I'm really happy with this. This is exactly what we're looking for. Just one really small question, Mike or Ashley. We mentioned stop signs. That's usually the number one thing we're asked for. Would that show up in 1.4, tier 1.4? Does that?
Frank will correct me on this, but I'm pretty sure a stop sign is not considered a traffic calming measure.
Oh, okay. So
yeah,
yeah, I'm just thinking of
so it takes a different route.
Yeah. So I mean, all of this is great, and I'm really happy with this. My thought, and maybe we've already included, is have some of those, maybe not necessarily here, but things that are commonly asked for. We mentioned RFBs and all that stuff, but things that people are going to be showing up to the meetings or looking online, like, hey, I want a stop sign in front of this place, or I want RFBs, that we have some criteria in there or something for when we do adopt this and it gets posted. That way, it's just a little more information for everybody.
Yeah, and 2.3 is flashing beacon, and one of these was not in the original and it got added in the subsequent. I can't remember which one, but basically, here again, this is a first crack.
Mm-hmm.
I still don't know if it's possible if we could get a draft to the committee by the next meeting. It's possible that we could, not of this document. This document is in draft, but of the manual itself. It's going to be an undertaking. We'll see how it goes. We're going to have a next ad hoc meeting and talk to the committee about that. But this document could change annually for the next 20 years. As we continue to update it, as new measures come in, modify it as things change. And I see this being a document that, unlike the permanent parking program that we kind of just want to prove it and shelf it for a while, this one here I could see making changes to it routinely as they warrant. So
yeah, that's perfect.
So again, my personal journey on East Napa Street and Fifth Street, when we first started trying to figure out how to get City Hall to pay attention and so on, we asked for stop signs because on Fifth Street East, the only all-stop intersection, or the only intersection that didn't have, I can't even say it. For example, every cross street on Fifth Street where there was a stop sign, there's typically a stop sign on that cross street, except for Napa Street. Does that make sense? So on Napa Street, there was never a stop sign, any way you look. But if you drove down 5th Street East, you're going to always find, like on MacArthur, for example, that's an all-stop, and so on. Where I'm really going with this, and my apologies for confusing everyone, what I discovered in my own hunt to try to make our neighborhood more comfortable to live in was, I believe, traffic calming is the goal, not traffic stopping. And to me, the benefit of not having a stop sign in here, I came in without any knowledge about this process, and I thought we got to have a stop sign. And now, especially living with the tables, the speed tables, and so on, it's been fantastic. I couldn't be happier, and I think really all that transpired was not a stop sign, it was just traffic calming. It started slowing people down. And I would like to continue to encourage our committee and the city to utilize the traffic calming measures and the traffic stop sign to be like some method of last resort. That's my own opinion, so.
All right. Did we have more reporting out on this? Are we still a work in progress? Looks great so far, and I'm looking forward to working on it more. Anybody else from the committee have any questions or comments? If not, I will call for public comment on this. And put my glasses on. Mr. Zimmerman.
Thank you. Just want to point out some language, and I know that this is preliminary or whatever, but when you're looking at the front page of the item here, traffic reporting form comes in. I guess is a process flow chart. Is that going to be part of the finished product on this?
Well, because it's an unfinished product right now, I can't say one way or another what.
Okay.
Everything's being explored right now, and it will be.
All right. Well, but okay. So then I'll just go on to this the suggestion on the language. It says Public Works. It says hazard reporting form comes in. Public Works evaluates for criteria against adopted. It sounds like you're looking for ways to not provide what's being requested on the initial form. So I just think that language is a little bit off-putting. Another thing is, in the past, I sort of remember some years ago that I don't know if it was on a previous traffic hazard reporting form or whatever, that where the public was informed about being able to appeal a denial either by this body or whatever to the city council. And I don't know if that's just wishful thinking on my part or whether it actually existed at some point. Does anyone know whether there is an appeal process to this, to the processes you're talking about preliminarily?
I don't know if we have anything in there yet, but that's something that we can examine at the next ad hoc meeting or mention to city council.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. All right. Any other public comment? If not, I will send it back to the committee for if anybody else has anything. Nothing? I think we can close this item. No motions. Okay, that is.
I motion to close this.
Oh, I don't think we don't need to.
Oh,
do
we don't
need a
need
motion? No.
Oh, beautiful.
We're just closing it.
Okay.
Perfect. But thank you. I
Woohoo.
second. Okay, now, so that item's closed. Anything else from the committee? Reports, comments, anything left from any of the committee members? And if not, I will see if there's any staff comments from the staff, police department, fire. Fire's not here, but police or staff.
As far as staff comments, we've talked about a lot of the different items we've been working on. We've made some great progress with the ad hocs. I see a couple more ad hoc meetings on the traffic calming measures handbook between now, one or two between now and the next traffic safety meeting. And then we've Ashley gave an update of all the different things that crews are working on right now around town. I will be going out. I want to take a look at the lighting at Spain and Third. I know there's a street light there, but I want to see just how visible it is tonight. And I'll be taking a look at a couple of the red curbs while I'm out there, because the streets crew did go out there and paint, and the measurements that they did are in conformance with the new state law, albeit we're not painting every corner, but the guys were directed to do the upstream side as cars come into the intersection, because that's the critical visibility issue with somebody crossing the street and a car parked right there adjacent and not being able to see the oncoming car. So I'll take a look at that corner, and we will be looking at that. And, just heard a couple more comments tonight about potential to put a paddle sign out in the middle of the intersection. That's totally fine. And that's pretty much it as far as staff report. And then I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to the chief of police and see if he has anything else to report.
Thank you. Wanted to bring some attention to some other issues that are going on traffic-wise. Since the last meeting, the police department's been working with the schools to improve traffic flow along Broadway. Last week, the city's public works department put up the first of 3 bus-only signs at the bus drop-off on Broadway. It's a fairly significant situation because it used to be that parents would do drop-off in that zone, caused a lot of issues for both the pedestrian crosswalk and the flow of traffic because they were jamming the roadway. And so since we've done that, we've improved the flow of traffic past the high school up until the point there at Newcomb, now what we've moved on to is we're working with the schools trying to improve the in-parking lot traffic flow. What we're seeing is that every morning about 3 to 4 times traffic backs up from the high school onto Broadway. The school's very open, and we've been meeting with them several times trying to come up with some design to try to move it through the parking lot faster. The reason why I'm bringing this up is that, as many of you probably know, there's a consolidation process that the school board's going through right now. I did sit on the committee, and I did provide a lot of traffic-related data to that committee, or to the board, and they're going to have to look at all that. But as they look at consolidating schools, likely something is going to get consolidated, and it's going to increase traffic flow and student population at some of the campuses, and I couldn't tell you which ones yet. But as this comes up, one of my very specific comments to the school board has been, as they decide what campuses are or may be closed, it needs to come back to both the police department and potentially you guys as a committee, if those are in the city limits, to look at how we can improve traffic in and about these campuses, because it is each one of them is going to need some work. Aside from that, before we met last time, you guys put in the flashing stop sign, and I know I did give a report back, the one at MacArthur and West 5th Street, and just want to let you know that. So I did 3 separate times initially before the flashing stop signs went in. I think I brought up that there was no measurable standard to identify if they were going to help or not. So I did do just a real crude study to see if they did. I use my own personal eye of when I would make a traffic stop on a car. I would make a quick note that almost every car that comes to any stop sign in Sonoma, and I don't care where you go, very few actually come to a legal stop. Most come to a slow down, a California stop, unless there's another vehicle that's challenging them from being able to freely flow through. So the only time we see a true stop is when there's opposing traffic of some kind. And in my study, I did not count opposing traffic. I only counted north-south on 5th Street West. I didn't count East MacArthur, or West MacArthur, I'm sorry, eastbound, westbound. I just did north-south because that's where the flashers were going in. The initial test before the flashing stop signs came in, it was about 17 to 18% of all vehicles that were traveling north-south did not legally stop, and to the point that they would have been stopped for that violation of 22-450 of the vehicle code. Once the lights came in, I went back out and I let them sit in there for about a month, I think, before I went over and did a follow-up test. And I did it in the exact same process, more or less the exact same times of day as I had before. And just so you know, they were not during high traffic student loads. So I did 11 a.m., 1:30 p.m., and 3:30 p.m. And the secondary test, after they were installed, of those 3 times, the average, it was between 22 and 24% of the people actually made an unlawful, did not legally stop. So the number of people that didn't legally stop actually went up. And again, very crude method of a study, and I wouldn't even say that this is up to a traffic engineer standards by any means. But I just wanted to make sure that we understood, like, the flashing sign, reminding people of the stop sign being there. I don't think that people didn't know the stop signs were there. I think the problem is really that people just don't properly stop. And I just want to make sure that the solution is actually solving the problem that we're trying to in the future on those. We've already talked about the St. Francis issues with the crosswalk, and I'm glad that you guys approved that. The overwhelming problem was, it's not that there's so much pedestrian traffic, it's that morning time when those students are trying to cross the street, that sun in your eyes, you honestly can't see the peripheral on either side of the roadway because of the sun. So even if there's a kid there waiting, you just can't see them. It's not even the driver's fault all the time. And then there's 2 accidents that have happened that have been pretty noteworthy. The first one, the second one was on West Bain at 4th Street. We've heard a lot of people discuss that may be another reason why we need more pedestrian safety. To be very clear, that stop sign, or that violation was in the middle of the day. There were no pedestrians anywhere nearby. It was an inattentive driver who pulled out directly in front of a vehicle on West Bain, traveling eastbound on West Bain at the speed limit, and broadsided the car. And it was completely at the fault of the driver who pulled out, so did not yield the right of way of the other driver. The second one was the pedestrian that was struck in the crosswalk at 5th Street West and Napa Street, West Napa Street. That one was completely the cause of a hit-and-run driver who, for some reason, was inattentive and didn't know that they struck a person, actually thought they struck a deer, or stated they struck a deer. That one was solved. Sonoma Market has a great camera, and it does show the accident, and that driver did not yield in any way to the pedestrian that had a walk cross symbol, and they did have the right of way. The vehicle struck them, didn't slow down, and just continued on. So we were able to solve that one, thankfully, due to Sonoma Market's capturing the side of the car and our LPR system, which is phenomenal in being able to actually deter crime. And that was it. I just wanted to make sure that everybody understood that there were no mechanical there's no mechanical process that could have been added to the crosswalk aside from an arm coming down to protect that pedestrian. Accidents happen, criminal behavior happens, and that intersection is a fairly well controlled, albeit a little chaotic at times, intersection. I don't know what else you could do to make it safer. Any questions?
I'm just purely curious. So going from 17 to 22%, 18 to 24, any professional opinion on, like, are they going through there going, I'm really not going to pay attention now, or what would cause such an increase?
No, I think there was just less cross traffic. As I said, and I don't care what stop sign you go to in the city, if you go to just about any stop sign, unless the driver, and very cursory, most of the speeding is done by people traveling through town. Most of the stop signs are done by residents. So I think people know the stop sign's there. They live nearby. they slow down, and unless they're challenged by a car, and generally not a head-on car, but a car coming from the side, then they don't have to question whose turn is it or should I stop. Then they usually just continue going. And
All right, thanks, Chief.
I have one thing. The
yes.
next meeting is February 4th.
Is that good or bad?
It's great,
I'm
'cause
thinking
I get to see all you guys.
Super Bowl.
Oh.
Is it Tuesday?
It's a Tuesday. I just wanted to put it out there. That's our next meeting.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right, unless there's anything else, I will adjourn this meeting. All right, we're getting good at this.
Thanks to your hard work.